Hi, it's Cindy from It's Soccer Time. If you haven't heard about Anchor on Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app and go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM and get started today. Go Anchor! It's soccer time! Hi, this is Cindy from It's Soccer Time, and I'm here with Evan Dabby. Hi, Evan, how are you?
Well, yourself, Cindy?
Very good, thanks. So Evan joined New Jersey Soccer as the executive director back in April of 2014. Prior to that, he worked for MLS in the league office for 16 seasons, overseeing stadium operations, game operations, medical, venue design, team travel, and supporter relations. So, Evan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you love soccer?
Yeah, thanks. Soccer's been part of my life forever, and I joke around and say, need some break from it. But it was something that I have to recognize has given me so much, and it's hard to get away from, and that's a good thing in many ways. 4 years of college, and then my entire professional career, but it's given me that fun aspect, the competition that you learn on the field, through education at school, the friendships, the entertainment, and like I said, a career. So I grew up, it was simple, right? You played 3 sports throughout the year, and that was me. But eventually soccer became that primary sport for me in 4 awesome, really fortunate years at Tufts, playing soccer as well as the education. And then that becomes your network. It becomes your social scene, and therefore it transitioned to what I did professionally. So I got some soccer camps, actually created my own soccer clinic in my hometown through college. And then that became what I used to find my job. So it was ironically my high school soccer team manager, Carrie Goldberg, who's still, in the sport and an agent doing great things, representing folks like Christy Manapone here in New Jersey. And she helped me get my first job at MLS, and 16 years later, transitioned to this job and still doing it.
That is great. What is New Jersey Youth Soccer?
So New Jersey Youth Soccer is the governing body for over 100,000 players competing up through age 19. We have programs at the competitive level for ODP, Olympic Development Program. Affiliate all the travel leagues through us. And then we have programs, big focus is grassroots, as well as coaching education, and something we're really proud of. That services about 1,000 players this year, top soccer program for players with special needs.
Oh, that is so great. Absolutely great. Who inspired you to start playing soccer?
So I grew up where we didn't have the MLS on TV on demand, and didn't have the EPL and the Bundesliga. So what I did have was a brother. So he's still, nothing's changed, 5 years older than me. So I grew up trying to keep up with him. And I remember always trying to work hard to beat him, and that was impossible being 5 years younger. But I learned that he always kept that close. He kept my motivation, thinking I can win. And I think that was designed partly to make me better. I'd like to think that, but probably was really just making sure I wouldn't quit. And probably on some level, he enjoyed torturing me. But I think, when you go through all that and you reflect, I realized that, I looked up to him, and everything was to try to be like him. I watched him in high school and college, and, I had the fortune of doing the same stuff. So probably, the reality is from a soccer perspective, that was him.
That is really great. That's really lovely to hear that. Going back to the New York youth soccer, what is the culture?
Yeah, sure. In New Jersey, it's changed a lot in 7 years. And there's a gentleman named Roy Scolario. He was the president of the board, and he gave me the shot. And he took a risk on me. I was, while having played throughout and through college, and being a professional at MLS, youth soccer was different. And I think he saw what he thought that it could become in terms of New Jersey youth soccer. I also want to credit the leadership of our most recent past president, Evelyn Gill, who passed away in the past year, and one of the all-time greats. Yeah, just one of the all-time greats in what she's done and volunteered over many, many years. And we've transitioned from what I think was perceived as a governing rules enforcement entity to a member service driven association. And that's a lot of, work to transition that mindset of our members. And I think COVID-19, ironically, was that conduit. People didn't know what to do. All of us were learning what to do in this kind of unique time frame of when we could get to play. How do we do it?
Right.
And that was a state-driven thing. So we were the source of, for everyone in soccer to say, how do we do it? And it was a mammoth task. So we created webinars and videos and ongoing communication policies so that people could return to play. And I think we became that source for all of our members throughout the state. It's something that we embraced. It was a really big challenge, but I think that's what changed the culture, and as well as the perception, to benefit us in a positive way, to be supportive in terms of what our members do, not just to be the stick at the end of the road and when there is a problem. So, I think that's the culture that we're focused on. I think it's a never-ending process.
Right. So I'm also interested about this initiative about growing the girls' game. Can you explain that a little bit? And
we have funding that's born out of the grant from the Northeast Women's Soccer Foundation. And we've really put all the resources towards growing participation for women and girls. So announced this initiative last year, and it opened in our first year with internships for females, scholarships for ODP and Young Olympians female players, webinars. And then we also introduced, which was the first time, all-female courses. So an all-female grassroots referee course, 9v9, 11v11 grassroots coaching course, and the last one, as well as what I just mentioned, the grassroots coaching course, a U.S. Soccer National C license. We just finished that, ironically, 2 weeks ago, sponsored by WAGS, Women and Girls in Sports, and they were, the ability to sponsor what was 23 women coming from around the country to complete their C license. So year one, I would say, at least matched our expectations. And it's a long-term initiative because this is about getting more both girls and women into the game. We are having some fun brainstorming and hopefully talk in the not too distant future about partnering with Soccer Girl Problems. And if you know them, they do some really cool, trendy stuff, and partner with them to help amplify the voice of what we're doing and celebrate both the women and girls in soccer.
that is so awesome. You mentioned something about a C license. What is a C license?
So for coaches, and we might talk a little bit about coaches, there's a pathway to, the grassroots up until the professional level. So the entry level is grassroots courses. From there, a coach can continue their education to the D license, then onto the C license, and the B and the A. So the end game in the U.S. soccer coaching education pathway is the A license, but C license is something that is a huge commitment, probably 40 to 50 hours at least for coaches to go through that.
So when you have an A license, does that mean that you can coach an MLS team?
Yeah, I would anticipate that pretty much everyone on the sideline of an MLS game has an A license or the equivalent thereof. It's no doubt that those individuals at the professional level take their trade very seriously and put a lot of time to get there.
That's so awesome. Now, a lot of my listeners are learning about soccer, and they're learning all of the different leagues that are out there. And then in the United States, we have the MLS, which is the Major League Soccer. Would you be able to explain a little bit about what Major League Soccer is and how it relates to soccer within the United States?
Sure. So MLS, or Major League Soccer, it's the top flight professional league in the United States. But I mentioned that was my first job out of school. There was 12 teams, not the 20 to 30 teams that exist today.
Right.
I was an operations assistant and happened to I guess get a little bit lucky. I certainly felt like I worked hard and got a chance to be around the right people, and had 16 seasons with the opportunities to oversee game operations, event operations for the All-Star and the Cups, team travels, sports medicine, was there through the stadium design boom, so got to see that initiative through, security, and last supporter relations. So there's
Wow.
far more people there today than when I was there, but the league is
Sure.
doing some great things.
That is great. So, being an executive director, what do you see that are some of the challenges that people face today or families in regards to soccer?
It's become complicated, and that's hard for players, certainly for parents. The pathway, especially at the higher levels. We know there's Elite 64 from the USYS, ECNL, Girls Academy, ODP, ID2, and I got to figure it's got to be so tough for parents to understand, and I think it seems like the need is at some point for U.S. soccer to help insert itself and address some of the confusion and that pathway. It's not like that in other countries. I think
Right.
that causes some challenges locally to grow in the game. So I hope we figure that out.
Right.
So that's one. The other one that when I'm asked about challenges, it's sideline, the sidelines, and that's really the spectators, likely parents. And we hear about the issues and treatment of referees and umpires and officials, depending on what sport you're playing. But for soccer specifically, I think it's just too often, and it's not the majority, because we know we only hear about the minority and those things that get put on YouTube and captured on social media where things just cross the line. But I think it's not often enough that it gets played out on the field.
Right.
We introduced, in terms of a tactic that we introduced a respect campaign, and we just put it out there through our membership and through social, through other means, invite people to share their stories of good. So we started that in the spring, and we got really lucky in that we got wind of a girls team from Ocean, which here not far from me in Monmouth County, they collected and donated equipment to Afghan refugees. So
Wow.
they were covered in the local paper. We got wind of that. We honored them, and fast forward, we got a feature on NBC News in New York, and to see them and the girls to see their story covered out on TV for the millions in the New York area was really cool. And we're trying to just help tell some of the good stuff, because unfortunately there's some conduct that goes the other way. So try to tell the good while we try to mitigate the bad.
Where do you see yourself in about 5 years from now? Where do you plan on going?
There's two things that we're focused on. One is collaboration. We talked about the structure of youth soccer, and if it began tomorrow, it wouldn't look like this. We know there's a lot of differences, but I know there's a lot of similarities. So one or two examples that show the opportunity that we have. Well, there's state associations across the country, a lot of similarities. So we led a goal safety project. Goal safety is goal safety, and if you're in this industry, you know that unfortunately there's a handful, and one is too many, of a player getting seriously injured from a goal falling on them, and that's so preventable. So that message is the same. So we just kind of led a video that was replicated and showed throughout all these state associations. Or more recently, we collaborated with other state associations, and we contracted with SSEC to leverage our commercial assets. And then the more that we raise through sponsorships, the more that we can do as a nonprofit to keep soccer affordable and not raise fees. So we're looking creatively on generating revenue, again, for the benefit of our members as a nonprofit.
Right.
And then the last one that we know is the next phase is underserved markets. We know there's a lot of kids playing in or wanting to play in urban or underserved markets. So I think if we connect a year from now, we'll have some very tangible examples of programming that includes funding and support from New Jersey Youth Soccer and as our partners. So, for example, RWJ Barnabas Health a major player in a hospital system, the premier one here in New Jersey. They've been active in the communities. They've funded mini pitches, and we're speaking with them on how we can build upon that to introduce programming that ensures the fields that they're helping to build are used in the community. So not just that the field is there, but there's programming that goes on week to week throughout the year.
Wow. That is a great 5-year plan, I have to say. For anyone looking to learn or play soccer, what advice would you give them?
This will be easy for me to say, but reality is it's hard to do. It's simply enjoy playing and learning. It was, I don't know what year, but it was a few years back. We had the great luxury of Tab Ramos, one of the U.S. Soccer's all-time greats, and certainly one of New Jersey's greats. He came to one of our Young Olympians events. Our Young Olympians program is designed for 10 and 11-year-olds. So Tab spoke to the players and parents about his experience, offering advice. And at the end, he was pretty generous. He said, "Are there any questions?" And I was a little bit surprised that there were virtually none.
Wow.
He had to have that opportunity, but he did stick around to, shake hands and take photos. And I stayed, right with him just to make sure that he was taken care of, given his generous use of time. But I watched maybe 5 parents approach him on the sign and say, "Psst, psst. So my kid's at XYZ club. Do you think he should go to an academy or whatever? And how do I know my kid is in the right spot?" And it was so awesome to hear each time his answer was constructive, honest, respectful, but most importantly, consistent. He would ask, "Is your son having a good time? Is he happy? Is he thriving?" And as long as the answer was yes, the tab would say, "Well, seems like he's in the right spot." And I learned a lot, and I try to apply it to my own kids. I know that whatever it is, be it soccer, be it school, if they're having fun, they're inspired to put the work in, put the effort in. And it doesn't matter what the club name is, to bring it back to soccer. If they're not happy with the teammates, with the coach, it doesn't matter. I just don't think that the vast majority of kids are going to thrive.
Right. Is it correct to say that the only kids that could play in the New Jersey Youth Soccer Club is just children that live in New Jersey?
Yeah, so there's 50 plus state associations. So our members, there's over 100,000 members throughout the state competing in New Jersey soccer leagues and competitions. We have partnerships. So if you're over the border in Pennsylvania and New York and you want to play with a club, you might reside in New York, but we obviously manage that because there are some border considerations. So the vast majority are live in New Jersey, but you do have that situation for a player who wants to come from out of state and play, or vice versa. A player from New Jersey might want to play out of state because of where they live and where their friends are, where they go to school, or whatever the case may be.
Okay, great. If somebody wanted to learn a little bit more about it or get in touch with your organization, how would they be able to do that?
So fortunately, they have a staff of 10 that working often, long and hard, and whether it's just through email, obviously our website has a wealth of information with indications on who to contact. So we have a list on our website of who the staff are and what they're responsible for. So we're here to help.
That is great. Awesome. And what is the website, if you could just let us know that?
Sure. njusoccer.com.
Awesome. Great. Well, Evan, thank you very much for joining us today and telling us about New Jersey Youth Soccer and everything that it means to you. And we wish you continuous success in your journey.
Thanks. It was a pleasure having the chat.
Hi, it's Cindy from It's Soccer Time. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to be a guest on my show, please email me at itssoccertime@gmail.com. That's it's ITZ soccer SOCCERTIME @gmail.com. Thanks again and go soccer!